Welcome to the Pondcast, the destination for insightful discussions and interviews on the appreciation, conservation, and husbandry of reptiles, with a focus on turtles and tortoises. Now, let's join our team of turtle nerds. Hey, welcome everybody to episode 90. It looks like we've got 13, 14. The viewer count is just ticking up. Love to see that jumping on early. We're bringing you tonight's show, and basically right now, the first day of this year's symposium on the conservation and biology of tortoises and freshwater turtles just wrapped up the first day of talks. There are some Turtle Room people there. Our Assistant Director of Field Programs, Miranda McLeaf, is out there. Michael Skibstead, who many of you know from Colonia Cast, is out there. I'm bummed I couldn't be there myself, of course, but sometimes that's the way things go. And so I hope you're all having fun out there in Tucson, Arizona, which is one of my favorite destinations for the conference as well. And we're up to 40 viewers already, Anthony. So I don't know if conference people are just like, hey, more turtle stuff. I don't get it.
What?
Like, this is insane for the first
they love you.
minute and 40 seconds. So
let's keep this going. Tell your friends.
Or they all knew we were going to have one of your adorable daughters on the screen. That could have been a viewing point. So
I think so. I think so. She takes after her dad, so she's gorgeous. Let's be honest. Right? Am I right? This is Madalena, everyone. Madalena is 5 years old, and she is my turtle helper extraordinaire for sure. So yeah.
I like men.
Yes, you like Min. Min is a hybrid turtle who my daughter is in love with. She's Maremi's iversoni, a Fujian pond turtle, which is a mix between the golden coin turtle and the yellow pond turtle. So she's a big fan of that turtle. And she laid some eggs recently, and you got to take the eggs.
Oh, nice. Right? Fantastic.
Process them. Yeah, she took the eggs.
Of course, I didn't drop them.
Yep, you didn't drop any of the eggs.
Yeah.
Nice job. Very nice job.
Is dead.
Yeah, her eggs are infertile. Yeah, so they're not going to hatch, unfortunately. So,
that's a bummer.
Might be, which is why the 5-year-old got to process them when they were laid.
Well, it's okay.
But you
good first
got to write on them, right?
Yeah, good first dig.
Yeah.
It's okay because I don't really care about the babies. I only care about men.
Yeah, right. We care about her. We gotta get her in life. That's the only way we'll get babies anyway. Right? Yeah. Good job. This is a weird impromptu thing. But yeah, thank you so much, people who are coming in on the chat, and please keep the chat going. You notice I'm realizing that our intro, as much as I love it, is starting to get a little outdated as we go episode after episode without having Chris and Kevin on. Kevin may join us today. We'll see. Sorry, Steve, I mentioned that I might not say that, but there it is. And but we did have something that we wanted to discuss, and I think it's a nice dynamic. We're able to just jump right in, and with this smaller group, and on those episodes that we don't have a guest on, we can actually tackle some topics that are. Can you please stop licking my shoulder while I'm talking? Okay. And some topics that are important to us, are happening right now, and then also stuff that comes up in the chat. So if there are any things that kind of interest you, as we're going along, please feel free to bring that up. So the thing that we wanted to discuss is today, and really wanted to come up, I wanted to tell a story, and I was hoping that Kevin was going to be able to join us, and the plan was for him to join us. I don't know where he is, but that's okay. We'll make fun of him for it later. Give him a hard time. Hopefully everything's okay.
Yeah.
Put your tongue away. What's the matter with you? People are watching right now, How many people right now, Steve?
I think we hit a bunch of those, Facebook, scrollers that they autoplay. We're down. Well, it autoplays, so so we're down to 21, but it's still a good solid start.
Okay. So, honey, there's 20. As my daughter's sitting next to me, there's 21 people watching you lick my shoulder right now. We're hoping to get that to go up, so let's not get weird, okay? So what we wanted to discuss today, and there's a reason why there's two reasons why my daughter is sitting next to me. Number one is because my wife is not back yet from my other daughter's piano lesson. That's number one. But number two is because of the topic that we wanted to talk about. And I had the very important opportunity. Yes.
And the other reason, and the third thing is that mommy said she has to watch. That my mommy said that you have to watch me. That's the third reason.
Got it. Perfect. Okay, keep me honest here. Okay, don't let me mess this up. Okay, this is only the 90th show, of which I've been a part of 89. I missed that one a few months ago. So anyway, thank you, dear. I had the very important and I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to spend some time today with Melissa Schultz, who lost her husband on Halloween of this past year. And she is just a wonderful person. And her husband was an absolutely amazing guy for those that knew him. He had a YouTube channel called Bonsai Tortoise, and he did a lot of videos about his greenhouse and the tortoises that he kept and the bonsai trees that he kept. And was an incredible guy who was completely selfless and like collaborative and just excited to be kind of like around and working with people like us and that sort of thing. It was, I know people say all the time when we lose someone, like, oh, like, they lit up a room or they were like a beacon of light or whatever, but like really Steve was an amazing guy. And I can still remember the day we were in a group chat and we would talk on this chat like all day, every day, like just constantly chatting all the time as stuff would come up on Messenger. And it was November 1st and I was at a work function and I saw a chat come through and it was from him, but it said, hey, this is Steve's wife. And my heart just sunk as soon as I saw that it was her on his thing and telling us that he had passed away. So anyway, she came up to visit us today. She's spent some time with Kevin Minto and I. She came to my hospital to actually tour with her sons. They have 2 sons. And they came up to tour my hospital because they had some interest there. And my hospital is actually, my animal hospital is actually pretty cool. We do like MRI and CAT scan and chemo and like brain surgery and spinal surgery and all sorts of really cool stuff that a lot of animal hospitals don't do. So I was able to give them a tour of the big place and everything, which was cool. But like such wonderful kids. Like, you made friends with their son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What did you ask him before you left?
Do I want to be friends?
Yeah, you asked if he wanted to be your friend. Yeah, exactly. And that, I mean, Kevin Minto is on the chat. Hi, Kevin. There you go.
It's the one that's
So the one that's 10. His son is 10 years old. So it just, I mean, we got to talking a lot, and I asked her if she'd be willing to come on sometime onto Totally Devoted and talk a little more about it. But I thought it was such a unique experience, being the spouse of somebody like us, being the child of somebody like us, because you're growing up in this weird world where like going out in the wilderness is normal, having ticks embedded in your skin is normal, having 100 animals or more is normal. And it just got me thinking of what about our plan if things don't go perfectly. Yeah, honey.
The other thing is that I think Dad will get some ticks. Oh my, Daddy, look.
Oh, there's Kevin. Hi, Kevin. Okay, who's gonna get some ticks?
Yeah, she has a deer.
Because she has a deer? Oh, understood. She got a deer stuffed animal today, so now you think she's going to get some ticks. That's funny. That's actually pretty funny comedy for a 5-year-old.
I think I'm going to get some magic.
Oh, okay. I like that. That's pretty amazing. I like your style. I like your style. Hi, Kev. How you doing? You're just kind of, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. He said I saw his lips moving and saying he was trying to figure something out. It's great. It's a technical difficulty. We've been through this so many times, you know.
Oh, okay, there's Kevin.
Yeah, that's you remember Kevin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's handsome, isn't he? I know. I laugh at that too.
Me too.
I know.
One day, Papa was kissing the chaperone. Look what you're doing.
Oh yeah, your grandfather was kissing Pappy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
He's just offering.
So, Steve, do you have Do you have a will for if obviously?
No, we don't, and that's something that is kind of on that overhanging to do list. Even just as a married couple, right? You get to be almost 40, and it's one of those things you don't want to think about. What if the worst happens at this age already? But it's one of the things we need to take care of, and like even if part of it is just like me making sure Lisa knows where everything should go, if it would just be me, but if it's both of us, we definitely need a will on where the turtles are going for sure. My part of my plan would be, to the turtle room, but like also right now, that's one of those things where to the turtle room might not have the space because we don't have our own facility or anything yet. So to the turtle room would mean we'd still have to find homes, with all these different people to take turtles, and possibly some go outside of the turtle room. I know I'd check with Chris Lekowitz about well, not I, but like maybe Chris Lekowitz would be help with some map turtles or stuff like that. But it's definitely one of those things where it's kind of off there in the in the kind of in the on the back burner, but yeah, it definitely is going to need to get done too, as especially as we look at some other life things going forward. So
Yeah. So first of all, you saw there was commotion. I was so happy I was muted in that point. My wife and kids came in and started screaming and all sorts of stuff. Kevin's got technical difficulties. He'll be back shortly. That's good. We'll just keep us on the edge of our seat, Kev. We appreciate it always. But yeah, that's interesting too. I think it's great to have, like, I think when you do it more, like for more years, you develop this kind of list of people who your spouse then learns is a part of your operation or whatever, that they can rely on when you have to make some decisions. But yeah, I think that's important too. And I felt really bad for Steve because he was kind of newer to it, and he was just getting to the point, with COVID. He's like, I was just talking to his wife Melissa about this today. Like, you're at home with, working from home, and then you have a few more. Steve, what the hell is that sound?
sorry, it's my mouse scrolling.
Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness! You were really doing it. So like he was home more, and then things started to kind of grow a little bit at that time, and he was kind of in that growth stage that a lot of people are in, where they're getting to know more people, maybe figuring out some people who they can and can't trust, because I think sometimes we have to get burned a little bit to really appreciate the people that we have in our lives who we really want to work with long term on different projects and things like that. So that's where I really felt for her, because she basically just went to our group chat, not only to let us know what was happening, but also to say, hey guys, I need help. So
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it did work out really well, but I think all things considered, but I just found myself through this whole process thinking how many people out there don't have a plan in place and have, a bunch of really long-lived animals, number one, because turtles are so long-lived, and tortoises, obviously, especially tortoises.
Yeah.
I thought it was something worth considering.
Yeah, I feel like we've hit on this once before, and I know we've talked about it in relation to like succession planning type of stuff a little bit with the turtle room, and it's the same kind of deal. Like, you've got to build those structures to be ready for the unexpected and the terribly unexpected things. Yeah. And like it's one of the reasons why, like, for our group in the turtle room, I encourage everybody to like pass their spouse's numbers around and whatever. Like, if something happened, Lisa has your number, right? You guys talk, right? Doesn't even have to be Facebook. Lisa can, text you or call you or whatever. Like, Shannon can call or text me if, something was desperately needed as well. And Casey Leone and a bunch of us have our spouses' contacts, so we can touch base when those terrible things happen. And Facebook helps with that too, of course, but there's nothing like phone number, because Facebook, you got a password, so
Yeah, that's a good point. And I wasn't thinking about the talk about the turtle room too, but that's the idea, right? Because so much of who we are and what we accomplish and do is based on your ability to do that hard work. And without you, we're really nothing. Like, many of us have put a ton of time and effort and sweat equity into growing the brand and building the educational resources and things like that. But if you were gone tomorrow, it would just be gone. So, like, what's the, that's obviously something that we talked about a lot.
Yeah, it'd be tough for sure. Yeah, it's something that, I think even as the board, we need to keep working on a little bit. That I think about is just like, what's the organizational plan for if X, Y, and Z happens.
But that's a good one just to think about too. I think there's a lot of people out there that really care about these topics that we talk about. That's why they keep coming back to check out the show, and they feel about things a way that we do as well. We have that common ground.
Right.
So that's why obviously we love doing this so much and connecting with people. But a lot of people do rescue. Like, we don't really do much rescue unless it's like a species that we're focusing on or whatever.
Right.
We don't do much rescue, but there are people that dedicate their entire lives to rescue, and a lot of them have nonprofits. There are a lot of small nonprofits out there. I consider the Turtle Room a very small nonprofit, but there are several that are much smaller than that really rely on that one person. And I would, as much as we can. I guess that would look different for every organization, but what is the succession plan? You're putting all your work into this. Like, it's a little bit of a starfish on a beach scenario, which we all hear that story and think, I do care about that starfish. But when you're gone, the starfishes are no longer being helped. So how do you set things up to be successful, for the long run?
Oh, totally. 100%, man. 100%.
My wife is making faces at me. It's awkward. Hey, Chris, thanks for the birthday wishes. I appreciate you. That's what my wife came in screaming happy birthday song. It was epic.
Yeah, I mean, first weekend in August is normally, you normally do something turtley related at least. So now, correct me, aren't both of your daughters' birthdays right around now as well? At least one?
Just one.
Cambria,
okay. My first daughter, who just turned 8 the Saturday before, and then I had a birthday. I won't tell you how old I turned.
You're younger than I am. And you're younger than Minto, too.
and better looking. It's crazy.
Well, with youth comes beauty.
This is true, especially in America. We're a very vain society. No, I'm just kidding. My wife wanted me to remind everyone to ask how I look with my new Botox. I got Botox for my birthday. Just a few fillers. I'm just kidding. I didn't even shave my neck today. I went to work today too. But I ended my day early to take the kids, the Schultz family, on a tour, and then to have them see the house here. So
yeah. So I'm gonna take us on a completely unrelated detour temporarily. How about those Yankees this weekend?
How dare you? How absolutely how dare you? It's funny. I didn't even reach out. I was obviously thinking about you the whole time. So for anyone who's not aware, Steve is a Cardinals fan, and I'm a Yankee fan, and the Yankees were on a historic pace. Winning like every game they played and going to break the record for wins in a baseball season, or at least be one of the top 2 or 3, especially if you're listening to New York radio. And they've been getting their butts handed to them lately, and the Cardinals swept them this weekend, which was great. Indeed. And they just found any way to lose. So anyway,
yeah. Sunday's
game. Can you be an Astro fan? What's it like to live in the Houston area and be an Astro fan? Like, I thought everyone found them unlikable. Is that just how everyone feels about the Yankees? I don't know. Anyway, We don't have to get.
Well,
into
everybody
baseball.
else dislikes the Astros since the cheating scandal, but there are Astro fans just like there are Yankee fans. So
So Steve, as an outsider who's not a fan of either, my dog is biting my foot, and I'm going to kick the crap out of him. Sorry, I'm not an animal abuser, but just saying. So, Steve, as a very big, settle this debate right now between Chris and I that we haven't even started. Chris Drake in the chat. As a Cardinal fan and a baseball man your whole life, who's more hated right now between the Yankees and the Astros? And then traditionally, who's more hated? Because I know the answer to both of those.
I think it's still the Yankees for both, to be honest.
Dang it.
I think we're just far enough out of the cheating scandal, and like the entire front office and manager and everything's been replaced, and like we're like 4 years out of it, right? At this point, the Red Sox, as well, got pinched on some cheating things as well. They were different things, but they were things that were still so. But like I think with the Yankees having, won 70 of their first, well, it feels like, they were the first team to 50, 60. They were definitely on a record-breaking pace. And so I think that kind of brought it back a little bit too, is because the Yankees looked like, that kind of, bulldozer team that was just going to run over everybody again. So
I have to say, if there's one sport that I'm a fan of, it's baseball. And I do love the Yankees, but watching A Bronx Tale several times has continued to just help me have the mindset that it doesn't really matter that much. And this is why I'm so I was an athlete about 120 pounds ago, but I love saying that because it's actually true and hilarious. But I don't care. I'm not going to idolize some athlete that's younger than me and whatever. I do watching the games and enjoy it and everything. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter that much, right? I chose Turtles because I actually, as silly as that is to 99.9% of people in society, I chose it because I feel like it matters, right? I'm doing something that matters. So anyway, and then what Sonny says, so for anyone who's not familiar, in The Bronx Tale, Sonny says, why do you care so much about this Mickey Mantle, this Joe DiMaggio, all these people, whatever? He said, does Mickey Mantle pay your father's rent? And the kid says, no. And he says, okay, so what do you care so much about him for? And it's true. I don't know. It's another weird piece of society that I'm supposed to root for root for the home team. Well, I don't really like my home that much. I don't like my home state or home region or whatever that much. So I don't know. I'm just saying. Kevin, we still can't hear you? No,
we can't hear you. Check
I read his lips. He said, I don't know. Yep. Can you hear me? No, we can't. This is exciting. So, Kevin, you want to go to the little gear thing there and check your settings? Yeah, he's laughing at me because he already knows that. Okay. All right, Hotshot. Play it cool. This is going to be funny. For me to start off talking about, hey, Kevin and I had this experience today. We're going to talk about it. He should be on. And then he joins on. And then the whole time he can't talk. And then we'll be like, all right, guys, hey, thanks for tuning in, episode 90. And he's going to be like, can you hear me? And we're going to hear it.
How about now?
Terrific. No, it's...
Hey!
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. 24 minutes into the broadcast. 24 minutes in. And
I'm the best, man.
Golden. I know. That's crazy.
I'm very embarrassed by this. I'm sorry.
It happens. So Kevin, it's good to see you. So Anthony, let's bring it back now that Kevin's here and we took this little detour. All right, I'll let you kind of rewind.
Yeah, we were talking about already, having a plan. I talked about the fact that Melissa and the kids visited today and how amazing it was. People know that my wife has been really COVID conscious. Anyone who's listened to Totally Devoted knows that. She continues to be, and now it's monkeypox and everything else. So if you're the type of person who's so fed up with anyone who cares, she cares. She's not passing judgment on others, but she's pretty darn cautious about it, and that means I have to be cautious about it as well. But she's loosening up in a lot of ways, and she has been steadily the whole time, which is great. And today, Steve Schultz's kids were running around the backyard with my kids, and like my daughter Madalena went up to her son Jack at the end and was like, "Hey, do you want to be my best friend?" And it was honestly like the sweetest thing ever. And I don't know. It's just number one, I was like in tears today, like looking through social media at like Steve's old stuff. I've teared up watching his videos on YouTube and stuff like that. And I think anyone who's out there who's a friend of his who wants to talk about it, we'd love to talk to you about it. Like Steve meant a lot to us. Soon before he passed, he was visiting you, and I was giving him a hard time because he didn't come and visit me. So we were just talking about that, and then also, about kind of having a plan. You put so much time, energy, money into this, and having a succession plan. Not only for, I mean, you've got young Aldabra tortoises, like you need a plan because they're Aldabra tortoises, but like, a lot of people with the sheer volume, like if I pass away tomorrow, my wife is going to have more than 250 animals to try to figure out. So that's a lot. What were your thoughts today? Because you were with us today, Kev.
I knew this was coming. We've talked about it for a while. Like I said, I did see Steve about a month before. We were very, very, very surprised. So when I come up and her kids want to see like Rose again, that could have been like one of moments with his dad, perhaps. Like big animal, and so like it meant a lot. And Melissa taking care of these animals that it's not her. They meant so much to her husband and to her from the very beginning. Right now.
So we're getting message in the chat, and I heard the same thing. You are breaking up a little bit. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to say it. I thank you for your patience and your stick-to-itiveness. Yeah, but
I'm very sorry.
I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. It's not a good moment. And now there's an echo too if he tries to go without him. Maybe not.
That'll clean up.
It's okay. So the good news is that the silver lining is that we're back on track with our potential trajectory of having him be clear, and we're hearing him like right before we sign off, which would be really funny. That could be like a funny subplot for like, I don't know, like a Rick and Morty episode or something like that. They would do something funny like that. Or somebody who like just wants to get onto the live stream and gets on like 5 seconds. That would happen to Jerry Smith, Morty's dad.
Definitely.
Right? Come on, I just want to get on the live stream.
No, the echo's not bad. It's just
you're still
just cutting in
and out. You're waffling. Man. You're waffling.
Sorry.
Yeah. Your audio matches your personality. It's not likable.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. It's
been real. Bye.
We've talked about this so many times that I'm so unfair to him, and it's not. Actually, who were we talking about with this? Actually, it was you and Kevin. Like we were talking about board games and being competitive. Maybe it was just Kevin Pollock. I'm not sure. We were talking about being competitive board games. Okay, and Shannon was saying, I never let my kids win. Like, my daughter beat me at Connect 4, and she beat me at Connect 4. Like, I don't believe in, like, growing up and letting kids win. I'm not saying I'm going to, like, block their shot when we're shooting around off their forehead and, like, hurt their neck in the process. No, but I will really, I will really like try my hardest, not in an aggressive way, but like, hey, when I want you to know that when you beat dad at something, you actually beat me. And
same way. I was raised the exact same way. My father and brother would like play ping pong a lot, and they're like spiking on me and like just hitting it fast. And I grew up, and now they can't touch me when we play. Knowing that,
right.
I didn't have that like, hey, you could just win because you're a kid. No, like.
I completely agree. I think that's really important to instill. But here's the thing. I take that in the Pondcast, and I do it to you all the time because I think it's funny, and it's like a subplot or like gimmick of the show is like we're going to like pick on Kevin a little bit, but it's really I'm trying to do it to get a rise out of you and to get a kind of a competitive banter going, but also like to not hold it back, because I think that it's funnier when you're not and more entertaining when you're not as nice to each other if you know each other really well. It's like being a part of like inside jokes. Yeah. And you give it back to me.
Just don't explain it every 5th episode and we're good.
You know? I like where you're at with that. I like where your head's at.
All right. This is really great content for everybody right now, you know?
Well, it's bad content because we can't hear you. No, and that's not a shot at you. I'm just saying it's the situation that we're in. Oh, this episode is sponsored by Wendy's. Grab a breakfast Baconator. No, here, because let me talk about this, and this is important for the turtle-loving world. It is hot out.
Oh, right? Dude, it's been rough lately, man.
It's been nonstop. It rained today, and I forgot what rain looked like. It has not rained. It is so hot. And anyway, every time I get fast food, which is not that often, believe it or not, my physique would have you think otherwise. But I got Wendy's like 3 weeks ago, and I saved the cups and just keep refilling them with ice water and just have them all over the house. Shannon hates it, but I'm like, you know, McDonald's needs to start coming out with the collector's cups again. What's the deal? Like, America gets health conscious, and now we can't get a 50-ounce bucket of cola anymore with a collector's cup? Like, when did that stop happening? Gosh darn it.
You just go to the ballpark and get one of the Yankees cups, you know.
They're still, I don't think they make them big like that anymore. Like it's not just that I'm, 5 times what I was back then size-wise, but like the cups got smaller. Tell me I'm wrong. This is not a supersized cup from the 90s. I want a 90s supersized cola so big that I can, like, my little daughter who was here with me earlier could, hide
it's like
in
the,
it. That's the size cup
It's like the size of the theater popcorn bucket, right? Like,
yes, at the movie theater you still get it big, but go ahead, Kev.
In my perspective, that was like 4 foot, like 6'9", so.
You know what? It's almost like you're speaking a different language. I'm embarrassed. You just spoke pig Latin. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Melissa said that McDonald's charges $137 for a cup of water.
It's for the cup, not the water. The cup.
But McDonald's has $1 any size soft drinks. How does that work? It's cheaper to have. Kevin's going to type. I like this. Kev, if you just keep it going in the chat, I like this. I want to see your face, though. I want to see your reaction when my daughter said that you were handsome earlier, or she agreed with me when I said you were handsome. So that was fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway.
I think you're handsome.
I did. I got the movie drink the other day, and I brought it home, but it was a paper cup, so you only get a couple uses out of that before it starts bleeding all over your nightstand. But, from condensation and the breaking down of the cup. You know what I'm saying? I know this is captivating stuff. This is absolutely captivating stuff. Kevin wants to know if I told everyone about my birthday ice cream today. Kevin, I need to know, and you need to nod or shake your head no if you requested that today. I don't believe you because he says no because the waitress was bewildered and felt swindled that you said that you didn't tell her. And the look of shock and horror on her face when you said, no, I didn't tell you, told me everything I needed to know, I think, at that point. So anyway, they came out with a huge sombrero. You should send that picture to Steven here so he can share it to everyone. Yeah, I don't know if he can do it. I don't know if he has the tools or the talent. I know he has the talent. I don't know if he has the tools. I don't know if he has the time. But But yeah, they came out and like that was like a legitimate explosive that they put into my fried ice cream that came out for free. But that was fun. You know why? Because I deserve it. So anyway, I'm just saying. Eric says that Kevin should try sign language. I mean, I don't know. That's pushing it, isn't it? I think Kevin probably only knows how to say one thing in sign language. But just saying. So Steve, what's going on with the conference? You started off talking about the conference. Any insider information on the conference that's happening? It started yesterday.
Yeah, Icebreaker was yesterday. First day of,
are they
of
doing
contact. First day of talks was today, but I don't know what all was. I didn't look at the program or anything. So
I heard that they do some hybrid stuff, or they were talking about doing hybrid stuff. Is that wrong? Did I make that up, or did I dream that?
I don't know. I had actually been trying to see if somebody was going to be able to hop on, like if Miranda or Michael was going to be able to hop on a little bit now, but I haven't. I heard from Michael and Miranda was going to go out and do some herping, right as the day of talks ended. So
got it. It's cool.
Tucson is great for that, by the way. If you have not been to Tucson in August, fantastic. You're getting into monsoon season. You'll get these great rains and everything will just come out for a little while. And the location where the conference is being held is the same place where it was 3 years ago. It's a really cool place. You can see desert tortoises and western diamondback rattlesnakes and all sorts of stuff, even on the grounds of the hotel. So, yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Oh, very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like I was talking to Kevin Pollack, who was out in Arizona a couple weeks ago, and he was saying temperatures were crazy. And I was saying, well, at least it's a dry heat. And he's like, no, it's not a dry heat. During the monsoon season, it's actually quite humid. And he was out there herping on days where the low was 90 and the high was 116. It was insane.
Yeah.
How do you guys do this? Unbelievable. Chris was asking if we were experiencing record temperatures. Steve responded, not record, but hot. And it definitely has been hot. I don't remember it ever being this hot and this dry up here. We're every day's in the 90s, it feels like. And I can't remember the last time it rained. We got a lot of rain today. But yeah, and Chris was asking, can we even keep water in the ponds? There's a picture of me for anyone who's watching live. There's a picture of me and my birthday extravaganza. I'm very excited. That's hence the pit stain. But look at that candle. It is a legit,
seriously,
explosive device. Yeah, and then after
that's
it went
a
out,
serious candle.
After it went out, it was smoking and it smelled like I was sitting next to a campfire. It was going right into my face. It's pretty awesome.
I'm super surprised that your hat didn't catch on fire.
It was right over. It was at one point I thought this hat is good because it was right over it. It was flame, and then the edge of the hat was right there. Yeah. I was asking for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and
I'm
a
actually,
that's a big hat.
Yeah, I see that hat, and I think of is it Despicable Me 2? I think, where they've got the bad guy who owns the Mexican restaurant, and all the people are wearing these hats made of tortilla chips that have guac or salsa or something in them, and they break off a piece and dip it and then eat it.
I don't remember that. I'm pretty
I think it's
up
Despicable
on the
Me 2. I'm pretty sure it's number 2.
I haven't watched number 2 in a while. Weird.
That's Lisa's favorite one.
That I'm next to a princess castle, dude. This is exciting. This is the real deal. This is when you've been doing it for a while. By the way, almost 10 years, by the way. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary of the podcast. And,
it's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, but when you get up to the 10 years, it's like Shannon and I just celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary. When you get up to 10 years, it's who cares?
Yep.
Princess Castle. Don't care.
Shoot, we'll hit 13 in November, today. Man.
Don't care. 13 years, huh?
In November, yeah.
Good for you. Just a reminder to head into Wendy's for your double stack today.
Oh, man. Poor Kevin. I feel so bad for the man. It's so good to have him back with us. So I feel like he's been, he's had some stuff going on, and I love Kevin.
Yeah. You can't yawn and talk on the show. I just
Yeah.
want you to know that. It's against
I'm
the
sorry.
rules. Okay? It's against the rule. Because then it has an effect on other people. They hear it and they feel that. And then,
Kevin, I love you. I'm sorry as well that you're having tech issues. Tonight has definitely not gone as either Anthony and I had hoped in many ways, I think. But anyway, we're here and we're trying to push on through.
yeah.
Let's find something fun to talk about. Turtle related, of course, instead of baseball related.
Yeah, that sounds good. Nobody's asking us good questions. Somebody asked one about Pearl River maps.
Oh, yeah, let's go look at that. A question. Was it a question or just a statement? Oh,
I wanted to
ask what the mindset between North and America. For example, I've really been having an internal battle of keeping Pearl River maps. Okay, so like, what do you mean there, Jeffrey? Like, I don't know if you're still with us since you asked that question like a half an hour ago.
The next comment then was, however,
here,
the next comment was, however, I know it would be better to keep that animal with someone who would breed it. So I think maybe the idea,
maybe not necessarily,
the idea of keeping an animal as a pet, as opposed to an animal that should be bred as a pet. Like I was just talking to somebody.
There's a lot of Pearl River maps in the hobby. Like I'm not worried about them being bred in captivity. Yeah, their numbers are dwindling in the wild for sure, but.
Who makes you the judge of who should and shouldn't breed something?
Right, exactly. Like
I'm just kidding.
And it's like pet.
But seriously,
pet is nothing wrong with a pet, man. That's how some of us got started too. It's just a simple like I started with a pet. I had one single turtle for 4 years.
Yeah. The good questions are rolling in right now. I love this. So yeah, I was just talking to somebody about a woman who has like a Corac albinifrons, a flowerback box turtle, in captivity as a pet, basically by itself. And I just think like, oh my gosh, like the gotta breed them all mentality for captive keeping with rare species like sets in my brain. And yeah, I personally think that it's sad. I think if it's a rare turtle that it should be. And I think it just goes back to, like, I think of Russ Gurley's book all the time, Keeping and Breeding Freshwater Turtles. For me, breeding animals is the pinnacle. It's why I do it. Hatching those eggs out is why I do it. I've said that many, many times. And I want to see that happen. So I personally wouldn't. I don't want to keep anything that's a pet. The only animal I have besides my dogs that's a pet is the one alligator snapping turtle. That's it, and that's for like educational shows. And it's a great turtle. So I mean that pretty much sums that up. But yeah, I think it's a moral conundrum, and I think a lot of people would say that if it's a really rare species, that they feel an obligation to breed it.
I think that's part of the conversation, right? I don't think you can have, this kind of discussion without, talking about the rest of the species condition. I don't think there's a single right or wrong answer, right? Like I have two Eastern painted turtles. They're never going to be bred. There's no reason for them to be bred. They're both female, whatever else. Like not only could I not keep, the offspring or whatever, because as soon as like one would hatch, we'd be over the limit, for the state of Pennsylvania, but like one of them was my first turtle, right? Like she's as much of a pet as anything because she was like my first turtle. She's like in some ways one of the cats. Like I like to dote on her and whatever else, there's no one right or wrong answer with that question for sure.
Yeah. Chris Drake asked me how many spider tortoise hatchlings I'm up to. I've only got the 3 that I hatched last year. They're getting bigger. They're doing great. They're in great shape. They have like bowling ball smooth shells. I'm super excited. They grow slow, but at the same time, like fast, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? They're such a small species and they take so long to mature. But once they start growing, and it's cool if you look at their growth charts over the over many years, you get this kind of staircase where it kind of goes up every rainy season, monsoon season, warm season, and then just kind of plateaus through the winter, and you get that kind of staircase pattern on the growth. It's It's so cool. And their laying season starts right now. It's towards the end of the monsoon season because remember, their eggs go through that diapause. So that's why eggs that are not found a lot of times end up developing in the adult's enclosure. So hoping last year I got my first clutch. It was a 2-egg clutch and both eggs hatched. That was on July 27th. So I've been checking, no eggs yet, but I'm only like a little over a week behind. So talking to Ralph, he just started getting eggs. He's usually ahead of me with everything. So.
Right.
Yeah.
He is in Florida, right? And I feel like our stuff comes out a little later up here.
Always.
Like I can normally count on being a couple weeks behind Chris Lekowitz when it comes to stuff laying. I try to warm up things as quickly, as early as I can to help, but it's still one of those things where I'm going to end up being a little behind him. So actually, Anthony, the last time we were on was 4 weeks ago, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things we were doing is we were talking about, eggs we've got in the incubator, things, how they've been breeding, et cetera. And like one of the things I know I mentioned was I was like, I'm expecting the first yellow blotched egg to pip within like a week. Well, it did, right? And so like almost exactly a week after we were on the show, I think it was like 6 days or whatever, that one pipped out. And so, there's now 3 that have pipped, and probably a 4th one might have even done so today since I last checked on those eggs this morning. So like, over the last 4 weeks, what's been starting to, pop out of their eggs for you?
Can I test real quick? Can you hear me? Not hear?
Hey, that sounds good. It sounds better.
That sounded kind of sexy, yeah.
All right, I'll with this. Hey, guys.
All right, I'm liking it. It's better than before. I
think I have to call my internet.
Yeah, you got a little delay too.
Yeah, it's weird though because like normally internet issues hit video way before audio because of the extra bandwidth involved with it. So like, it's
Kevin's a
really interesting error.
Well, it's the same thing on my phone too. That's the weird thing.
Oh,
it's a paradox.
And it was odd that it continued when you switched to the internal mic of the computer or tablet or whatever too. So like, that is weird.
Let me just see if I can switch between the 2 platforms really quick.
Yeah.
Here.
Don't tell us about it. Mute yourself, will you? Switching between platforms. Steve, you asked me a question. I don't have a ton going on, but I had a few disappointments this year. Honestly, it's shaping out to be a worse year than last year, but I still have some really good things happening. Like for the first time, like Galbina Franz eggs for the first time, pancake eggs for the first time, Cora McCordi eggs for the first time. Well, it's a single egg clutch, but like. That's been really great. Like the past 2 years, I've been getting eggs from new species, so that's been really exciting. So I haven't been able to hatch a lot of it, but I'm excited for things that are every year. You want to take a step, right? You want to get eggs from something you didn't get eggs from before. You want to get fertile eggs from something you didn't get fertile eggs from before. You want to hatch eggs from something you didn't hatch before. You want to hatch more this year than you did the year before. And the problem is that as you take that building mentality, like that's not like you can't continue to grow. Like I think like, in the veterinary field, we've seen increased business because of COVID since the beginning of COVID. And
a lot of people have gotten pets.
But it needs to bottom out at some point. Like you can't do better every single year, forever. Eventually you're going to have a down year, so.
Right, especially not without continuing to like expand your facility, like and whatever else. Like there comes a point where you're hitting your ceiling and you just can't go any farther. And like that, like you said, that applies to us, keeping animals as well. Like we're making some extra space, etc. But like after that happens. Like that's all I've got here, right? The next time I can expand individually is going to be like maybe when the turtle room has its own facility and some of the stuff I've got here can go there, or whatever. But like there's gonna like I'm literally starting to plan out like where's my ceiling? How many adults can I have so that I have room for the offspring and be able to rotate them in and out, through
You're one of the
each
more,
year.
with everything you do, you're one of the more calculated people that I know, that I've ever known.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that makes sense that you would be like that. I'm realizing that I've already passed my ceiling and need to figure things out a little bit.
I feel that way right now, to be honest, is that like what I've got in the current space is a little too much. And part of that's because I had to tear down 3 aquariums, to prepare for this, the basement remodel project that we're doing. So that kind of exasperated me feeling like we're kind of hitting the ceiling. So I have to decide if I'm going to take any of the animals into my classroom with me this year or not too. So
right. I like this idea of just answering some questions. It's kind of like a question and answer to kind of end the show. So we'll do more of that. That's okay. I like the question, how do you tell the difference between trifasciata and cyclornata? So I think the main, I love this sort of stuff, so I like to geek out. And if you don't know, that's 2 different golden coin box turtles from Asia, and the Vietnamese version is larger and lays more eggs and has different markings, and you can kind of start to tell them apart. Like, I think that the head has a different shape and different markings, but the main way to tell for juveniles is that trifasciata, which is like the traditional golden coin turtle, Cora trifasciata, is they have little radiating lines on the carapace that cyclornata, pure cyclornata animals will have. So usually if something's being called a cyclornata, which is again the larger Vietnamese turtle, and it has those little lines, you're looking at an animal that is at least a hybrid with some trifasciata, some of that traditional golden coin mixed in. It's really difficult in captivity, particularly in the United States, because cyclornata was not described until 2006, and then the most common cyclornata subspecies, which is Cora cyclornata anamitica, was not described until 2017. So think about all of the golden coin turtles in America in the 90s and the 80s, and you would just be breeding them together. Like, hey, I got a golden coin male, I got a female. They like each other. I'm getting babies. I'm the best. This is awesome. And then what happens is a bunch of different people do that, and then the entire gene pool is muddied in terms of captive bred animals.
Yeah, so like I know, speaking more on that topic itself, with this specific grouping of animals as well, is I remember when we visited Tennessee Aquarium all the way back in 2013. They had split everything apart and were keeping them individually, not doing any breeding, because they knew the work was being done and they didn't want to create any potential hybrids in the meantime. So they had like 20 plus of the golden coin complex turtles all being kept individually for several years while this was all getting sorted out, because conservation demanded that basically be like, we've got to wait, like we've got to do this right, kind of thing. We've got to make sure we're not making more hybrids, etc. Then we're already created before people realize, oh, these might be different. So, I mean, years worth of individual keeping.
That's next level thinking, right? And dedication to genetic purity. And this is where things get really interesting. And I think a lot of really in-depth kind of moral decisions have to be made, like what we were talking about with Jeffrey and his questions related to Pearl River maps, and is it okay to have him as a pet or breed him or whatever, and then his follow-up is like, okay, what happens to the offspring? He feels bad, like not knowing, not being able to really vet. This is something a lot of people struggle with, Jeffrey. Like Ralph Till struggles with where his Egyptians go to this day. I mean, he'll take care of people, and people will come in and give him the whole sob story about how they want them so bad and they're in love with them, and then he'll give them a really good deal, and then 8 months later they're for sale. So like that's something that really bothers him a lot. Like they're not actually dedicated to the taxa, they're just trying it out, but when they're talking to him, they're telling him that they're really dedicated. But I think all of this, like, how many of you really, ask yourself, you put in the money, the time to acquire some adult Trifasciata golden coin box turtles, so you're paying thousands of dollars to do that. Then you find out that they're writing a paper to split them up. Do you not breed them because you don't want to create a genetically impure lineage? Or do you produce them because it's still worthwhile to have that animal? Now, no one's opinion really is like gospel or is written in stone. I can tell you what my feelings are, but everyone should make their own choice. My feeling is that, and I've said this many different times, and Tom Arbor and I have been very politely arguing, because that's how Tom Arbor and I are. We're very polite to each other because we respect and love each other. But we've been politely arguing on this. Is like, is it conservation or preservation or that sort of thing? But I just think, like, there's nothing wrong. And I used to put a lot of pressure on myself, but there's nothing wrong with having like a genetically impure Trifasciata. It's not the ultimate goal, but how many of these animals are going back to repopulate the wild anyway? That's kind of my thought on that piece. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Drop the mic. Sometimes I think I talk too long, and then you guys have no rebuttal because you just zone me out the whole time. Hey, Kevin, are you there? How you doing, Kev? He's talking and we can't hear him. Done. This is the best. Now we're 56 minutes in and we still don't have you. This is the greatest subplot we could have ever created for this show. And that's got to be the whole thing, right? The name of the show has to be like Pondcast, episode
the one
90.
where Kevin is muted the entire show.
Yes. Pondcast, episode 90. Nobody cared what you had to say anyway, Kevin. That's the title. And that's sad.
Yeah, it might be. It might be 5 years, Minto. Yeah, me too.
Right?
Me too. I always love having Kevin's insight and his good questions, etc.
Totally. I don't know. Hi, Matthew. Matthew's here. Us talking about things before that I was reminded of because of Matthew, but it's okay. Spoken word next time. Is that you next time, Kevin? You're gonna speak next time? Is that what that means? Matthew asked if we've seen enough of each other today. Yes, we have, and that is why Kevin cannot actually sign on here, which is an embarrassment to all of us that we're an hour in and he hasn't been able to sign on. He's actually stopped trying. You could see in his face right now as he sits there that he's stopped trying. He's completely given up. This is so good. I can actually lip read. I've been able to read his lips a few times here when he said certain things, but it's pretty epic actually. I think for anyone who's paying attention, who's tuning in, and you're wondering, what if we did do this on purpose? That would have been talk about next level, right? If we stage this just to have an interesting subplot. Just saying. Don't say anything if
like the one with all the Halloween candy.
That was really funny to me. Steve, I can't believe you brought that up. That was like 8 years ago. That was really funny. Because that was when Steve first joined. And I had a bunch of Halloween candy, and then it became this joke where
it was
Steve
pretty
said something
early.
and sounded, because I was making fun of you so much for being a nerd that I needed to stop myself. So I started eating a piece of candy every single time he said something.
Well, John was still on the show too. You and John were like pounding Halloween candy. It was probably our second year after going live. It was probably the second Halloween after we went to the live format, I'm guessing.
Probably, yeah. I started
like 7 or 8 years ago.
I started to think about what we should do for the 10-year, right? Because we've got two big milestones coming up for the show. Because the 10-year will come up in 6 months or whatever it is.
Right.
And then the
100th episode.
Yeah, the 100th episode will come up within a year, as long as we keep the once a month time frame. So obviously we haven't, if we're coming up on 10 years and we're on the episode 90, we haven't done an episode a month the entire time. We have taken chunks off at different points when things will come up, but we are the second longest running podcast, almost said second longest running podcast. Second longest running podcast about reptiles that there is, and obviously for turtles.
So if we do one a month for the next 10 months, the 100th will actually occur in June of next year for the organization's 12th anniversary.
There you go. Done. We're doing it. Mark your calendars. Next June, 100th episode. This coming February, 10-year anniversary of the Pondcast. So if you'd like to, give us any ideas. We don't need ideas, but if you have an idea that you want to share, we'll listen to it. I don't want to make this sound like we need ideas just because it looks like we need ideas, because we don't. But we will take your ideas. Does that make sense? Kevin says maybe he'll figure out his audio by then. Kevin has good ideas. He just can't tell us about them. So that's the issue right now. But
big win for Apple tonight. Big win for Apple tonight.
Why are you and I on Macs and he's not? Is that the deal?
I think he's using Apple products. So Apple's always known for it just works, right? Android, you sometimes have to put a little effort into. Apple's thing is it just works, right? It's not just working tonight. So that's why I was joking that.
Oh, poor Apple. Dylan says live at Garden State. I don't know. Am I invited there anymore? I don't know. I don't even know Chris. I might go there and get escorted out by his security team. He's getting kind of big now. He's too busy for the podcast, Chrissy. He's not really, but
he's busy. It's
kidding.
His time. It's when he's been busy. It's been tough. So
yeah, well, think about and just so anyone knows too, we come up to the moment sometimes with these where we don't know exactly who's going to be available on that day. So even the one that I missed, I took a plane to LA and I knew I was going to be busy, but I was going to try to still sign on just because it's the podcast and I never missed one. Well, you know how that worked out. I missed it, but the same thing happens with, Kevin and with Chris. So, and Chris is really, Chris has full-time job, huge YouTube stuff going on, right? Rightfully so, right? As Chris just mentioned, different Chris in the chat. And then also, what else does he have going on? Oh, and then the animals, obviously. He's got more animals than anybody.
And he's
watching this show right now.
Yeah, well, and his day job doesn't allow him to just pick his hours anymore since he's actually working for somebody. So
yeah, that's the biggest thing. Yeah, right now, it's tough. I mean, I'm dedicated to the show. I can show up anytime, but it's for me, it's the organizing the guests and stuff like that type thing, which I honestly, if there's a time when Chris isn't here, great, because Chris loves to talk. I get to talk more. Hopefully everybody doesn't hate that much. And then when we, on days that we don't have a guest, I actually really like that as well. Cause I think there have been times where we had a lineup of guests for an entire year straight. And then people are saying can you just talk about a species, or can you just talk about hatching animals or keeping animals or whatever. So I think we get away from a lot of those specifics a lot too, and we're able to get into them a little more when it's just us. So anyway.
Right.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Kevin, can I hear you or no? Is this it? Are you not even trying anymore? He said, I'm not sure. So you look great, Kev. You really look great. You're looking the part. You've got your green shirt in your green room, and that's it. I don't know. What can you say?
Yeah.
There you go. And now he just signed off.
Yeah. His network connection is 0 out of 10 there for a minute. He didn't sign off. He lost network connection.
0 out of 10 on your network connection. You're not even trying.
That's what Restream was telling me.
Man. I'm embarrassed.
So there was something I was going to say, but I don't remember what it was now.
That's good radio. I love it.
Oh, I went without my green screen tonight because it's been a while, and I wanted to wear something that had like green. I wanted to wear something that had green on it, right? But also, like, I got some more artwork up since the last time I let you guys see the back wall here.
Let's see it. Can you go large on the screen or no?
You give me a minute. Actually, I might be able to.
What do you got? Some Matt Pattersons back there?
Yeah. So there's 3 Matt Pattersons there now. Let me see what I can do here. I know that looks weird now, but I'm trying to, get back there for you. So, there's there one of Bonsai, he did that's the one I've had the longest, and then there's a couple wood turtle ones down there as well. One of these he sent to me for World Turtle Day this year. He's like, hey, what's your address? And then so when I went and checked the PO box, like there was this awesome Matt Patterson wood turtle painting in there.
Incredible.
And oh yeah, I love the dude. I'm sure he's out in TSA, and I'm just like I'm missing some of those people that I haven't seen in person for so long, and not being able to get there this year. Yeah,
there you go,
yeah.
Jeff.
And there's another one that's similar to the one I got, but not the same. I think he did a bunch of he sent a bunch of different ones out, so yeah. And then actually, you can't quite see them, but up along the top is some of my artwork from my grandparents that I proudly hung up there as well. So both of my dad's mom and my dad's dad, both when they got older, they had started doing a bunch of artwork, and so they both passed away during COVID, not of COVID, but. I recently framed my grandfather's stuff and got it all hung up. So
that's really cool. I mean, it's not cool, but it's cool.
Well, they lived long, great lives. They were well into their 90s when they passed. That's way of life. But my grandma did some killer oil work that, like, the next time you guys are here, I'll have to show it to you in person, especially you as an artist yourself. I think you'd really, enjoy seeing her work. So
it's crazy. It was like a really different life. Done. It was like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
That I was.
I get it, man.
But I do still geek out about it sometimes, and like start to use that part of my brain again when I look at an interesting painting.
Yeah.
The words start flowing again, like I'm in a college level art critique.
Right. And, I know my grandmother really painted like doing landscapes and stuff. And I don't know if she, found pictures of things and then painted them or what her process was. But the one of them that's my favorite actually reminds me of Yosemite National Park, which, I think you probably remember Lisa and I spent some time there during our honeymoon as well. So it's got the rock faces and it was kept in kind of a dry place, so there's some cracking with the oils, but in that particular painting the cracks almost look like they're those white parts where the rock faces are brighter, and it actually in some ways enhances, it hasn't hurt the art at least, which is really cool.
I think that sort of thing could be really interesting.
Yeah. So I've got, I've got some other stuff that's going to happen back here as well. But I wanted to, wear some green instead of being in front of the green screen and show off some of the stuff some of the new artwork and stuff is back there. So.
And I was just lazy and sat next to a princess castle. So.
No, that's cool too. Dylan, no. Well, yes and no. I got a 2-egg Spanglary clutch. They're both developing. They're how
many days?
No, maybe 70, maybe.
When were they laid?
I'd have to check exactly. It was mid-June. They're close. So maybe not quite 70 days, but it's been a while. They're, but the ones I've had, the ones I've hatched were 110 or something like that. So a ways off. It always amazes me how much slower they develop compared to my map turtles. But like I've seen some continued development. I look at them every other day or so, and check the water and everything. But like no luck on Cicalia this year. So I have these two Spengleri eggs as far as the Asian stuff goes this year. Spengleri and yellow blotched. So last year was ringed hybrids, and then a couple others. We had a couple quads, a Spengleri, what couple yellow blotch. This year basically it's going to be yellow blotch and Spengleri, and that's probably it for what hatches. So
I have to do this. Please forgive me. Spengleri, what I would call Spengleri, are Vietnamese black-breasted leaf turtles.
Yep.
Endangered species that I obviously love. Many people know. Quads are Cicalia quadriochelata, which are four-eyed turtles, rare species from Asia that loves fast-flowing, flowing clear water, cooler water. And what else did we talk about? Yellow blotch map turtles, Graptomis
Flavimaculata.
And ring maps, Graptomis, don't say it, Ocalifera.
Yes.
I was on the spot there. We used to have like a goal that anytime we talk about a species, we would say the common and scientific name. But anyway, just saying. That's it. Kevin never really made it. That's the name of the episode. The Pondcast, episode 90. Kevin never really made it. Does that sound good to everyone? Do we like that? Kevin says in the chat that he's the worst. It's hilarious.
The one where Kevin tried.
Not hard enough. Not hard enough. But anyway. I just want to thank everyone for hanging out with us. I love these. I listen to several different reptile podcasts, different types of podcasts outside of reptile stuff too. I really like podcasts, but there have been several where they're set up to have a guest, and then sometimes there's not a guest, but the host knows that it's important to just have a steady content, so they just sign on and do it anyway. And I love the episodes where it's like just a couple people chatting who are normally on there together, or even just one host chatting who's on there. I don't know why. Like those episodes that get a little more rambly, where people aren't like fighting to try to get a word in because there's so much to say and not enough time. I think they can be really fun like that. So this was like a really low key, like, hey, we don't have a lot, but we're feeling a certain way after having, our friends visit Kevin and I today. And we just wanted to reflect on that. And then also just, talk about, do people have a plan? And then obviously use the chat as well to kind of answer some questions and have some dialogue. So I really am grateful. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us. Thank you, Kev, for trying. I know you really did truly try. I know you probably have a pit in your stomach because you tried and were relatively unsuccessful. And I'm sorry because I would feel like crap if I was in your spot. So thank you.
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for leading us in. Thanks for being a trooper and just for being you. I appreciate you, brother.
You too, brother. Always enjoy spending time with both of you. So remember, folks, that Labor Day is the first Monday in September. So for the third month in a row, we're going to end up on the second Monday. So Monday, September 12th is going to be our next show.
Awesome. Sounds great. All right, y'all.
All right, let's roll it out, guys. See you all, deuces. And feel free to shoot us questions off show too, and we can get them next time. Adios.